Welcome to the live class with Charles. Today we're going to have another amazing opportunity to learn and to talk about life as we see it. It's your host Charles Okebuno, and today I have a very amazing guest. Adele, I'll tell you, is the most spontaneous person I've ever met. As soon as I told her about this show, she didn't need any convincing. She was right on board. You know, the kind of person whom you can talk to and think like you've known them all your life. I'm going to invite Adele to the show and ask her to introduce herself and tell us a little bit about who she is. Adele, welcome to the live class with Charles.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Charles. Talking about excitement, I am just vibrating from top to bottom. And thank you so much for inviting me to the show. Yes, guys, my name is Adele Dreyer. I'm from South Africa. Well, sunny South Africa, but we're getting into winter, so the sun is not so sunny anymore. In any ways, I am a life and a health and wellness coach among all the other pies I'm having, but we'll stick to that one. I've got a lot of other pies. I stole or I borrowed a saying from a friend the other day when she said she was a serial entrepreneur. So yes, I'm a serial entrepreneur. Of which my life coaching and my health and wellness is on top of my pie list.
Wow. Welcome, Adele. I love South Africa. I've been to Cape Town and I couldn't get enough of the city. As a matter of fact, I thought that the length of time I spent there was not enough to do justice to the beauty of that city. And I know I'd only seen a bit of it. So you're living in heaven, so to speak. I welcome you to the show, Adele.
Mhm.
I'm going to now read the life class for the day. And to set everyone in the right mood and to set the tune for the conversation, I'd like us to just sit back, relax, and listen to today's live class. The live class with Charles. Needs seed. For every need, there is a seed. For every seed, there is a need. The seed is the beginning of a need. The need is the fulfillment of the seed. Our ability to identify the seed for our need is what can take us out of lack into provision. Your seed is someone's need. Your need is someone's seed. Everyone has a need. Everyone has a seed. You will meet your need earlier and surer if you look for somewhere to sow your seed instead of looking for someone to meet your need. You know why? It is because your need is in your seed. Sow and see. The life class with Charles. All right.
Yes.
What was going through your mind when you read this life class and when you heard this life class? Random thoughts.
So when I first read it, I obviously printed it out because I wanted to be in your live class full body and mind. And when I read that, the first thing that came to mind was, how did you know I need this lesson? That was the first thing. But they always say when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Ne? And it was for me, it opened up a lot of thoughts. And I always want to say, how do you know I am in this space now? And as I went thinking, I thought by myself, you know what, there? I think all of us are in that space now. When you hear something or read something and you see, oh, how did you know? I think most of the time you always needed this lesson, but there wasn't just someone at a specific moment who gave you the lesson, whether it was now through me reading your email or talking or something. And then, of course, when I go and read it, Galatians, if I pronounce correctly, Galatians 6 verse 7. It also reminded me of this, the story of the sower. Is it the sower that sowed the seeds? And there's a CD of Jim Rohn that he also told the story, and that immediately came into my mind because I haven't listened to that CD or that story in a long while. And then I said to myself, you know what? I love it. Everyone's need is someone's seed. And that is what I had to hear, because we read the story of the sower and where the seeds fall and everything. But never have I thought about it. You know what? It doesn't matter where my seed falls. We always want the seeds to fall into the healthy ground. Okay? But we forget that, you know what? The healthy ground is the other person's need. And that was just an eye-opener for me, hey, in many, many aspects of my pie-filled life.
With this class, Adele, we can talk about riches, how to be rich. We can talk about how to solve a problem. We can talk about how to achieve success. We can talk about how to see yourself differently. Because at some point when I was reading it, it just struck me. Everyone has a need and everyone has got a seed.
Yes, yes. And you know what? Sorry, carry on.
No, go on, Adele. There's no rules here.
I absolutely agree with you there. Everyone has got a need and everyone has got a seed. And I paused there because it's quite a few times in your lesson lies here on my table. It's quite a few times in your lesson. And immediately when you think about the need, but what is my need? And then after I've read the lesson a couple of times, I went, but you know what? Whose seed am I? Not just what is my need. So that is very interesting for me to go and sit and see, but whose seed am I? Whose seed can I be? And whose need can I be? And who's my need? It goes both ways. And that's a very, very big eye-opener for me. A good lesson. You've got my mind going like this at the moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, all those who's connected to the show, you connected on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter. All you need to do, you can drop your live questions. You can drop your observations. You can drop your comments. And I will come to it. I have the pages open on my screen, and I'll read them to Adele, or we'll talk about them. Just let's know how this live class resonates with you. Now, Adele, you said something. Every one of us is a seed, and every one of us has got a need. It means that you're a solution. You are someone's solution. Everybody is someone's solution. all they need to do is find the need for their seed. It struck me when you said that, Charles, how did you know this is where I am? Tell me about that thought.
You know, it's dangerous to ask me questions now. Well, at that moment when it struck me, the piece of my life where it struck me last night when I read that lesson was in one part of my life, I am coming out again, okay, because we've all been boxed in, okay, and as you probably have noticed already that I'm not the boxy type of person, so being boxed in quite sort of, I'm still squished into this box shape. They've got these like little wipes. That's all, they made up in a little circle or a little thing, and if you put on water, it goes and it becomes a wipe, a wet wipe or something. This past 2 years, I've been so crushed and crunched, I've become one of those little wipies. And I've said to myself, you know what, we can, because life is like this, that we can come out literally now, and people are my energy. And that is where I get recharged. A lot of people get recharged when they go to their quiet, happy place. Now, my happy place is not quiet. It's where people are. That's my recharge. But I did find that I couldn't get out of it. I still need to get to that poof. And the only way I can get that is to get water onto that little squished piece of cloth to make it go poof. And the only way I could do that was to say to myself, like your lesson says, Adele, I am someone's need, but I have to go out and I have to go and sow my seeds. I have to stand up, walk out the door, sow seeds. Now, walk out the door for me means literally walk out the door, but it can also mean get onto my social media account, connect with someone via WhatsApp, send an email, literally get up and do something, but it can be in any way of communication that you choose, and go and sow seeds.
Wow.
And that is when I went poof. Hello, Charles, listen. That's what went through my mind immediately when I saw that.
Adele, do people really see themselves as seeds?
You know what? According to me, I really don't think so. And the reason why I say that is because I think of myself, okay? I have rarely thought about me as someone's need. I mainly think about of my business. My business is someone's need, or my product or my service. That's someone's need. And I think most businessmen or entrepreneurs or companies think so. But you know what? I am my business. I am my product. So yes, I am someone's need, but that took me quite a while to actually get to that realization. Wow, yes, I am someone's need. And I don't think that we, or people out there, even businessmen and entrepreneurs actually believe or think that they are someone's need. I'm sure they mainly think that their business is someone's need, but not themselves. And I think when they can get to that light bulb moment, maybe business will be a lot better.
This is amazing because people are afraid of rejection. A lot of people are afraid of being turned down. A lot of people think less of themselves. A lot of people seem to be looking for who can help them. right? Meanwhile, this life class is saying that the seed you have is a need somewhere. And here's what is leading me to this conversation, Adele. A weed is a plant whose potential has not been discovered. When I saw that, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
But if only we knew that there's somebody somewhere that really needs us, what happens is we will begin to act differently. We begin to have more self-worth, more confidence. And this is why I say that. Some people are in the professional world, they're working so hard and they're not getting the kind of rewards that they want. And here's what I also think. Those who will use you may not pay you, but they that will pay you may not really use you. And for those who pay you without using you, you are a seed to their need.
Yes.
So they value you. I like what you said about going out there on social media, letting people know what you do, and being confident about it. But I want to ask you a question. The life class says, don't look for who can meet your need. Look for where to sow your seed.
Yes.
I want you to speak to somebody right now who's in despair, saying, how do I find where to sow my seed? How?
Is that a question for me?
It's a tough question.
You know what I have discovered? I must say recently, because recently I believe that most people who started thinking much deeper than they ever thought before. And, we have to go out to sow our seeds to find someone that needs us, but we don't know where. Because where am I going to start? Where should I go where the people are that needs my seed so that I can fill a need? And I know a lot of social media marketing says, you have to be on a group or something that's in your genre, if I can put it like that. But you know what I have found, but that's not personally me. I can't speak about everybody. Is I've actually found that, you know what, I don't have to know where that person is. It is, I don't want to say my job or my duty, but it is, because it's me, to go out there and sow my seed, because you know what, wherever I go, that person will be there. That person will be there. The correct person who needs my seed will be there where I'm going out to sow it. So I started to stop breaking my head about where will I find my ideal client or whatever, or the person who needs me. It's just for me, get out there, go sow my seed, let people know who I am, be available, whatever you want to call it. But the people who needs my seed, that person will be there where I am, because that's the way the universe works. That person is looking for a need. He or she might be in a certain space. And like I said, when I read your lesson last night, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I think it's the same. That person is looking for my seed. Now, we weren't going to looking for one another, Adela's going to be there, or my favorite client is going to be there. Go out, sow your seed, your client or the person that needs it will be there. I hope it makes sense.
Hello,
Can you
Adele.
hear me, Charles? Yes,
Yeah,
can you hear me?
yes, I can hear you now. I lost you for a moment, but
Oh,
when you finished that point you were making, I just thought to ask you, have you ever been in a situation or had an experience where somebody was trying to solve someone else's problem and in the process got their own problem solved?
I have.
Tell us.
You know, because I'm such a social person, you land yourself quite not on purpose, quite by accident, I think is the way to say it in English, in a conversation where people trust you to speak to someone else, but they don't mind your being in their presence. Okay? So they will speak to someone and say, oh, no, Adele is here, she can stay. Although, I'm just basically a plant, or actually there for the food or something. And they start to speak to that person who they think they can get their need from or their need fulfilled. And obviously I will know, but that person also has a problem, but it's not about the one that's got that wants to have his problem solved. He's there to solve someone else's problem. And I always find just by talking and brainstorming, and sometimes I can just give it because I'm not allowed to speak. It's very difficult, but I'm not allowed to speak. And as they are, every now and again they will say, but what do you think? Or what do you think? And the strange but true thing is that I am then literally the outside party. I can see that from the outside, I'm not within their conversation or their need. And that then becomes a brainstorming, like a bumper for them, getting back into their faces, and they go, but I never thought about it like that. Now that you mentioned that, that's the problem I have. Well, thank you. So I have been there. Some deep problems, some not so deep problems, but it's quite a blessing experience to see or to be in a conversation like that where you're actually not part of the conversation because it's got nothing to do with you. And then someone else's problem gets sort of solved. That's actually getting, what do you call it, goosebumps. That's a goosebump experience, eh?
True. Now, Adele, you know, life is like trade by barter.
Uh-huh.
Um, this is why I said that. Sometimes you find that yourself in a situation where you reap, okay, you sow, all right? We often say we reap what we sow. Is that correct?
Yeah.
But Adele, we don't reap where we sow.
True.
But
You
we
don't
reap,
reap where you sow.
but you reap what you sow, but not where you sow.
Absolutely.
So here's what I want us to speak to, Adele. Sometimes you have a need, and at that time you're not thinking of being a seed.
Yes.
Let us talk about that. Why is it that when I have a need, the last thing on my mind is to be a seed to anybody? I have a need right now. All I'm thinking about is how to meet that need.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that is the way that we actually go mostly through our days or our lives, is what is my need? Oh, and that's a difficult one because most of the time, what I call it, we all have this me, myself, and I syndrome. It's all about me. But we are human, so that's okay. We are allowed to be like that. We mustn't just like be that all the time. But I think it's because we are all focused on our lives. And when we are in that situation where we have a desperate need, so being a seed it's not even in the box or on the list. And I think that is when the brain is in this, like horses, the only focus on that one thing. And the focus is just there. Now, of course, it will be internally, it will be only here. The focus is just here. Here. The focus is not going out there. And we are so desperate. And I think all the emotions bundles up like this tight ball inside that, you are nervous, you are worried, you are stressed, you are maybe depressed, maybe anxious. It depends on what the situation is that you are focused on. And with all of those negative emotions, there is no way that a normal, healthy thinking human can think at that time of how to be a seed to someone else, because what you are going through at that moment is you. And that's okay, because sometimes you have to just focus on you. But the interesting thing is, and Charles, I have to admit, and to be very, very honest with you, is I go through that moments quite often, where I have this need and I can't see where I can be a seed. I hope all humans are like that. Otherwise, there's something wrong with me. But what I do find, if I always think back in hindsight, after my need has eventually been fulfilled, or after all those negative emotions just sort of evaporate away and I can start thinking again and get rid of these things on my eyes, is that, you know what? As soon as I go and sit down and just do something else, take my focus off of the problem, whatever it might be. Don't go and look for a solution. Just take the focus off of the problem and do something totally different. It can be anything. And then that is when my mind usually opens up. When I just get that looseness inside of me and let go of my negative emotions. Because when you are in that space, when I'm in that space, I don't want to be no one's seed, And time frame depends from person to person. Sometimes it takes days, sometimes it takes just a few minutes, sometimes it can take months. It's different, depends on what the situation is. But I do find that if I just go and, you know what, leave it, just for now. And then the mind starts to open up, because I have to relax my body if I want to be someone else's seed. And I cannot be a seed if I am all this cramped up ball full of these negative vibrations and negative emotions, keeping me all bundled up and tied up into an inner focus instead of being an outside focus.
Amazing, amazing, Adele. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the live class with Charles. You have a question for Adele, you're going through a situation that resonates with this live class, drop your question in the chat box. Don't forget to share this so that other people can get to learn, other people can get to participate. So you got any questions, observations, or contributions, share it in the chat box. And I'm monitoring all the screens on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook, and I'll come to you. Now, Adele, I agree with you. The natural man who has a need focuses on that need. Today's live class is saying the exact opposite. When you have a need, it is a sign that you have a seed. Go and use your seed to meet a need, because in that seed, in meeting that need, you get also to meet your need. But the question I have here is, people are waiting to meet their need before they attend to other areas of their life. So they don't want to do anything until that need is met. So, for example, somebody needs a job. I need a job. I need a job. I need a job. It's all over them. You know, the right letters, the right CVs. They make phone calls. They talk to people. All they're saying is, I need a job. How can they convert this need to a seed?
Ooh, I like that question. You know what? I am going to share a story of one of my very, very dear close friends. It's actually one of my surrogate children. I've got quite a couple of those.
Wow.
And in any case, so this is a true story, guys. I'm not going to name any names because I haven't asked her if I can share it. I'm sure she won't mind. Who was exactly in that situation? Well, for quite a couple of times. Beautiful young lady with the perfect background for the job that she applies for. And she had a couple of jobs in that scenario, or in her what she does. And unfortunately, every time she doesn't stay long at a company because either the company closed, or it changed from ownership or something. So there's always something happening at the company, and then she has to find another job, doesn't matter what it is. And it's been going on, I don't know for how many years. And one day, I've spoken to her. This was now about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, around about there, give or take a year or two. And I was connecting with her again. How are you doing? And she was so happy and so shining. And I found a job, blah, blah, but it's a total something different. And I said to her, well, what is it? So it is still a job in the same area that she works in, which she loves, but she could never find a job. So what did she do, Charles? And this brings me to the answer of your question. What did she do? Because she couldn't find a job. She sat there and she decided by herself, you know what? No one's giving me a job. I've sent out so many CVs, done so many interviews, and nothing's happening. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to, this sounds appropriate, sell myself.
Wow.
Okay? And she went on to all the different platforms of her her work that she does. And she put herself out there and she just sold herself at how good is she what she does with all her references. This is what I do. You need me, so you contact me. And you know what? It wasn't even a week and she landed the perfect job. So that's what she did. I'm sure there's a lot more people there who did that. But you know what? Thinking about that, she took her focus off of I need to find a job. Who's going to give me a job? Who's going to pay me, Instead of, she just turned the whole thing around and put the focus onto the answer. Focusing on the answer. I am what your company needs. I am your answer. And that turned the whole tables for her. And I think that's a lesson, I know that's a lesson that I have learned from her. But I hope this is a lesson other people can also learn. Take your focus off. Turn it around and put the focus on the solution. This is my problem. And keeping your focus on the problem, it's going to stay there. But put your focus on the solution. I've been in a discussion the other day with a mentoring group, and one of my mentors said, you know what, there's always problems. There was a task given to a lot of the coaches. There was a task given, and my mentor said, he taught me, you know what, yes, there will be problems. Of course, there's gonna be problems, nee? And I'm there. You phone me, you call me, but don't call me to say this is my problem. Call me, tell me, mentor, this is my problem, and I've thought about 2 or 3 solutions. Can you help me with that? And you know what? Since I've got that lesson as well, it's still difficult for me because I'm still focusing on the problem. You know, we have to learn, you know, to get into the correct way of thinking. But think of the solution and then reroute yourself to that space. So, yeah.
Don't think about the problem, think about the solution. Don't focus on the problem, focus on
Yeah.
the solution. So
Yeah.
that's so tough. Meanwhile, that's the solution.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a tough.
how do I take my mind? Because this is interesting. The need is the problem, the
Yeah.
seed is the solution.
I know.
You know, you know,
It's so
and
easy.
it's so easy. And everybody, you are a solution. That's the point. You are a solution. You are a solution. I can't undermine the kind of confidence this will bring to every person, including myself, listening to this, right? And just talking about it. Because I keep emphasizing that you are a solution. The fact that you are not solving problems right now doesn't make it any less true. You are a
Yes.
solution. Start from somewhere. Look around and solve someone's problem. Start solving small problems. You can't sit. Here's the thing, Adele.
Uh,
You got a seed and you keep the seed without planting it. What happens?
it's not growing. It's gonna die.
So many people have lots of seed. This is the life class. So you can see the seeds. So many people have got lots of seeds, but those seeds are in plates.
Yeah.
They are in bowls. The seeds are lying fallow. And they are about town going about with their need,
Yeah.
looking for who can meet their need. So, this is what is coming to me. As you look for your need, you will only find it where you sow your seed. In other words, of course, you've got a need, right? But that need of yours gets met while you sow your seed. And I don't know how we can emphasize this enough in the world that we live today, where there is a need everywhere, Adele. There is a need in every country, in every nation, in every family, in every company, in every group. There is a need. Everyone you meet
Yeah.
has a need. Wow. Everyone you meet has got a need.
Oh, that's so true. Yeah.
So you don't need to look for who has a need. You're only looking for the right match, right? So everyone you meet has got a need. How can people discover their seeds, Adele?
Well, I'm glad you asked. when you hold up your book with your seeds, your picture of your seeds in, you said people have so many seeds, and I want to get to that because Okay, now people listen to us. We tell them, you've got a seed, you've got a need and everything, and you put your focus here and take it off from there and so on. But what I want to get to with that picture of yours, Charles, is what you said is absolutely true. We have so many seeds. In other words, we are a solution for different things. We have different solutions. If I think from a business point of view, let's my health and wellness. I do health and wellness. I'm quite fancy. So I am only going to look for health and wellness needs. So I'm only going to sow health and wellness seeds. No. Sow everything that you have. Time to give something, to hug someone, to smile to someone, to wave to the person that's driving with an upside down smile. Be friendly to the cashier. If you can, give some cash where you want to, if you want to. I mean, every person is different. But I want to say that we have many seeds. You show that picture. We are not just one seed. So maybe if we take our focus off our one need and think of all our other needs, maybe we will discover more of our own seeds, because laughing with someone, pick up the phone and phoning someone, or give a positive answer to someone that only gets negative corrections the whole time. We have so many seeds. Or just zip the lips and open the ears and listen to someone. That's another seed. We have so many seeds to sow. We don't have to be just my product and my service.
This is interesting. So interesting, Adele.
Yeah, sorry, Charles. So to get back to the that conversation is, we don't have to worry about what is my seed. I think that was your question, because we have so many seeds. Don't focus on just the one seed, just my product and my service. Nee. We don't have to wonder, what seed do I have? We are filled with seeds. Go and sow everything you have.
I love us to, from the thing you just said now, I'm thinking many people will look at seeds as their goods, their service, or even their money. But you said something about your time, your energy. These are your seeds. I told someone recently, I said, if you're poor in money, you're rich in time.
Yeah, I hear you.
And you need to sow that time to someone who needs that time. As you keep sowing the time, you can reap money.
Yeah.
And the point here is, there are many seeds.
Yes.
Many seeds. Your smile can be a seed. Just like your smile, your beautiful smile, Adele. It's a seed. Someone needs it. Sometimes we undermine the power of a smile.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of social distancing, but we even undermine the power of a hug.
Absolutely.
The power of a phone call, like you said.
Yeah.
A word of encouragement.
Oh, yes.
A word of praise, validation.
Yes.
Your presence, sitting beside somebody, just being there.
Oh, yes.
There's just so many seeds in there. Now, we've got a question. Someone is asking a question.
Okay.
So we've got a question from Israel, and here's this question. It says, "Hello, Miss Adele. Is it possible as a human not to have a seed to meet someone else's need?"
Who, Israel? Well, thank you so much for the question. And you know what? I'm going to tell you no. It is not possible not to have a seed and not to fill someone's need. But the possibility is that you are looking into a wall, not seeing yourself and not seeing the world outside. So again, I want to say, don't worry if you do not know what type of seed you are. You've got many seeds, nee? And don't worry if you don't know what type of need you can fulfill. What you need to do is just go out there, be yourself, be Israel, who you are. You will find your seed, and where you are, you're going to see that there's going to be someone who are in need of your seed.
Wow. Wow.
I hope that makes sense. I hope that helps, Israel.
You would always find someone who has a need for your seed.
Yes.
But
sorry, Charles, I want to say this there. You will always find someone, you know, for your seed. But I want to say this, also getting back to Israel's question, if you don't mind. If you don't think that you have a seed, don't worry about that. You must just be willing to go and sow. Because sometimes people think they don't have a seed, so they're just not going to do anything, you know. And that's not right. Go and sow willingly, even if it's just one or half a seed, you know, the smallest mustard seed becomes the biggest tree. So go and do it willingly, even if you think you don't have anything.
Wow. So you're saying that act of going out, that singular effort of stepping out, going out there, reaching out to someone, is going to be a catalyst for meeting someone's need.
Yes.
Right? I feel really excited about the approach with which you've taken in this conversation, especially because now everyone listening to us can just sit back and tell themselves, I don't need to worry anymore about my need. I now have a formula. All I need to do is go out there, be myself.
Yes.
What other things can the person do? How about being observant? Being observant, looking out for someone that you can help, you can support, someone who might need you. All right. How do people fight rejection, Adele? Sometimes people are willing to sow a seed, but they get rejected. Their enthusiasm is, and that can dampen the enthusiasm. How can a person deal with that?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that. I must say, I must confess, I am still not very comfortable with rejection. Okay, I don't think one ever will be though. But when you are going out to sow your seeds, and to put it in plain terms, when you are going out to put yourself out there, because you're literally putting yourself out there, you are opening up, you are vulnerable because you are giving yourself to the world, to the people. I have many rules, Adele self-made rules that I live by. And one rule, Charles, I would love to share with everybody. And I must admit that I only started to live by this rule a couple of years ago. So I haven't been living by this rule for all of my life. It was a lesson that I've learned. Okay. And I said to myself, you know what? Let's do this. And the lesson is unconditional love. Now, we hear about unconditional love everywhere. Most of the time, people put unconditional love in a romantic way, but that's not what I'm talking about. I love everyone and everybody, okay? But I am very vulnerable and I take things very personally. And then until quite a couple of years ago, I made this discovery of really unconditional love. And I make a point of it to live like that every day of my life. Yes, I still fall off the wagon every now and again, but very, very not so much, just a few times. Okay. And unconditional love is when I go out and give, I don't expect anything back. Because as soon as you start to expect something back, that is when I feel the rejection much deeper. But when I sow a seed, when I go and give, if I give my time, if I give my money, if I give product or a service or a smile or a hug, I mean, how many times have you smiled to someone and they go grrr? Doesn't matter if you don't smile back. I give because I want to. I don't know what you are going through in your life at that moment. So maybe your grrr wasn't meant at me. Maybe your grrr was just what you had in your head at that moment. So when you go out, sow your seeds, whatever you have, without expecting something back. Don't expect to get a customer from the group that you've just spoken to. Don't expect to get a round of applause from this audience. Don't expect to get a cheerful hello, how are you from another person because you are so chirpy. I rarely get the cheerful hello, how are you that's on my level, because I'm a very high cheerful person, but I do get the hello, how are you. Okay, so it took me quite a couple of years to get into that mindset of give everything I have that I want to, and remember, I give it freely. I don't go out and give because I have to, because that's a negative. I have to. Go out, give it freely. Whatever you give, time, a hug, money, whatever, even tutoring someone, but give it without expecting something back. Let's say you're giving your service and you're obviously getting paid. Don't expect to get a bonus, because that's not part of your service, alrighty? But whatever you give, don't expect anything back from anything that you sow. And I found that by having that mindset, the rejection, I don't take it up so personally as I would have before when I expect something from someone or a situation.
This is so real, Adele, because you know that certain seeds cannot grow on certain soils.
Yes.
The trouble is not the seed. The trouble is it's in the wrong soil.
It's the wrong soil.
So don't take it personal. Adele's saying, deal with your rejection by managing your expectation.
Well said. Well said, yeah.
You know, as we round off, Adele, are there any random thoughts you're having on the subject? Something else on your inside that hasn't got out?
Oh my goodness. You know what, Charles? I am going to share this with you.
Thank you.
During every day, every morning I wake up. I wake up with this is what I'm going to do today. because I want this to be a blessed, successful day. With the knowingness that a blessed and successful day doesn't come my way, okay, I have to go out and do something to make it successful and to make it a blessed day. I cannot just sit and say, hello, success, come on, blessings, here I am. That doesn't work. So every morning I stand up, before I stand up and do my morning prayers is, may this day be successful and full of blessings, but with the knowingness that it is my duty to get to a place to make it successful, to receive the blessings. I can't expect something for nothing. I have to give. And yes, there are days, this is now where the truthfulness comes in. There are days where I don't do that. There are days that you just, you stood up with all of this intention. And guys, here is a tip. Then that one thing happens, a person says something or just a happening happen, and then your whole day is ruined. All your prayers about blessings and success is out the window, and you have to do that again tomorrow morning. That's okay, because I fall flat on my face every now and again. That's okay. But tomorrow morning, it's still going to be on my prayer list to be successful and to have a blessed day with the knowingness, but it's my duty to go out and do that, to be able to give and to receive. I have to sow, even if I fall flat on my face.
Wow. Wow. I have to sow even if I fall flat on my face. In other words, if you want to grow, you must learn to sow.
Yes. And if today was a mess up, tomorrow you do that again. As long as you stand up and do that again, keep on sowing.
Keep on sowing. Keep on sowing. Harvest takes time. Just keep on sowing. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Adele. I can't believe it's 1 hour already. Where did the
Wow.
time go?
Yes. Oh, well, thank you so much, Charles. I thoroughly enjoyed spending time with you. It was a great hour. And yes, even I have learned so much lessons, and I got a lot of golden nuggets through our session that we had. Thank you so much. And thank you for the questions and the listeners. I really enjoyed it.
All right, so as it's our tradition, we're going to treat ourselves to some soft music again, and then I will read the live class with Charles, which is the topic for today, and then we'll come back and say our goodbyes. Needs seed. For every need, there is a seed. For every seed, there is a need. The seed is the beginning of a need. The need is the fulfillment of the seed. Our ability to identify the seed for our need is what can take us out of lack into provision. Your seed is someone's need. Your need is someone's seed. Everyone has a need. Everyone has a seed. You will meet your need earlier and surer if you look for somewhere to sow your seed instead of looking for someone to meet your need. You know why? It is because your need is in your seed. Sow and see. Life class with Charles. Thank you so much, Adele. I look forward to having you on the show. Got people on LinkedIn sending in comments, thanking you. They say, thank you, Adele, for answering my questions. I really appreciate. Someone said, South Africa, great. On Facebook, someone said, welcome Adele to the class, etc., etc. So there's so much love around for you, Adele. We appreciate you for coming on the live class with Charles. You have our best wishes and our love.
Thank
Ladies
you
and
so much, Charles. And have
gentlemen,
a lovely, lovely day.
thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, have a good day. This is Life Class with Charles, life as we see it. If you want to grow, go and sow. Bye for now and see you next week.